What's up, everyone? Welcome to Mock Draft Monday, episode 2. Hopefully, we don't have as many errors as last time, technology wise. But yeah, a lot of stuff has happened that has changed probably our picks a little bit in terms of re-signings and trades. So let's get to it here. We're gonna do. We're gonna switch it up. We're going to PFF this week.
Alrighty.
Mock draft, so that in case you want to, you want
to the third and final.
Oh, jeez, sorry about that.
In case you want to do another trade for the Vikings, we can.
Maybe it'll work this time.
We can actually force trades on this one. So
okay, good.
But yeah, so I am odds this week, right? Yeah, you were odds last week.
Yes, I was odds last week.
All right, so let's get it started here. Number 1 overall, still status quo. Nothing has changed. Justin Fields has not been traded yet, but it doesn't matter. Still going to go with Caleb Williams. I think the Bears are – what I've heard is they're going to wait until some other stuff happens, which it has. The Baker Mayfield signing, changing things a little bit. Still waiting on Kirk Cousins, see what that situation looks like, to see what a Bears Fields trade can or where he can go. So I'm going Caleb Williams number 1 still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes the most sense. I think all signs point to Williams in Chicago. With the second pick, I can't disagree. I think Washington likes Jayden Daniels, and I think Jayden Daniels is going to go to Washington. I mean, I've tried to think to myself, okay, could they go with Drake May or JJ McCarthy? But I'm still on the Jayden Daniels hype train to Washington.
I concur. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be either one of those two. And then I'm not trading out because of what happened this weekend. Mac Jones getting traded to the Jags, so definitely means or signals a stick and pick here for New England at 3, unless someone like your Vikings or someone else absolutely blows them out of the water, and they believe enough that a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix can be the next guy. I think they're going to sign someone like Brissett in free agency to be a bridge guy. So whoever they do draft, wherever they draft him, doesn't have to start right away. So, but I'm going to go with Drake May.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised. I thought they would go. I always had them going with JJ McCarthy. I always thought that seemed more like a fit, but it does make some sense there. With the 4th pick, I'm going to stick with the obvious, in my opinion. Arizona's going to go Marvin Harrison Jr., going to put him in that, outside receiver position and have him be like the D-Hop that Kyler Murray had a while ago before he was traded to Tennessee. So MHJ, again, going down to Arizona.
Yeah, and they could have a really solid group of weapons if they do re-sign Hollywood Brown. Combine him with MHJ. You have Trey McBride at tight end, James Conner in the backfield. Could be pretty solid. And just get some offensive line to help Kyler, and maybe the Cardinals making some stuff happen. This is an intriguing one. The Chargers at 5 because they need to make moves to get under the cap. There's 4 guys right now that are in question. That's Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, all with $20+ million cap hits. They're going to have to get rid of probably 2 of those 4. And I think it's going to be Mack and Mike Williams probably. coming off the ACL for him. But I think the Chargers, again, interesting selection here because you go with Brock Bowers to kind of make up for that, having to release one of the two receivers there. But I like what you did last week. I think Coach Harbaugh wants to build through the trenches. So I'm going to go with Joe Alt here to pair with guy who I can't think of his name right now. Their left tackle.
Slater?
Rashawn Slater.
Yeah, I think that would be the right move. I think that just gives Justin Herbert the protection he needs.
And it was interesting. I did a mock this week, and Alt made it to 10 somehow. I traded up with the Steelers to get him.
That'd be a great selection. But yeah, and now I have the Giants, and you had them picking Malik Neighbors last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to just repeat history, but I'm agreeing with you again. I've gone 3 for 3 of agreements. Giants just need weapons. And Malik Neighbors is to me, definitive number 2 wide receiver in this draft class. And he's a guy that you need to see if Daniel Jones plays better with weapons, and Malik is the obvious weapon.
Yeah, I like it. Any of the top 3 receivers should be on the board, or should be an option for New York. Otherwise, O-line could possibly be in play. But yeah. Tennessee at 7. So Derrick Henry's not going to return. They're looking into possibly upgrading on Malik Willis at the backup quarterback spot. But again, they need O-line badly. So I know it's interesting. They have Olu kind of down below Talise Fuaga and Troy Faltanu, which is fine. Both of those guys really showed out at the combine. Olu got injured running his 40. But I think Olu is the guy here. It's close. It's a lot closer than it has been with Fuaga. But I'm going to go with Olu here for the Titans.
All right. And we got the Falcons here. And you could go quarterback here. I hear they are kind of hesitant now with Kirk Cousins, just with the price range there. However, until I hear more, I'm going to go with what I think would be smart with Atlanta. And I think they're going to go edge. I think they're going to take the best, in my opinion, best defender in the game, in the draft, and take Dallas Turner. They could go Jared Verse, but I think they would prefer Dallas Turner here.
All right. Yeah, I think that's a solid pick. They need front 7 and Calais Campbell. They haven't re-signed him yet, so interior D-line could be a move as well. Corner would also be one. They need someone to pair with A.J. Terrell on the outside. At 9 here, the Bears, I'm not doing what you did, taking back Bowers, because it doesn't make sense with Cole Kmet, because they have other needs that they need to address. So for Chicago, I'm going to go skill position, though, as well. With the re-signing of Jalen Johnson, corner isn't as big of a need anymore. They do need O-line, but that's interior O-line more than the tackle spots. So I am going to go with the top wide receiver available and Rome Odunze. Pair him with DJ Moore. Give Caleb Williams a solid duo on the outside.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now we got the Jets, and the Jets are an interesting case here. I was kind of just mulling over this pick and trying to tell myself what I think they would end up doing. But where was it? I'm looking. This weekend, they released tight end CJ Uzama.
Yeah.
Uzama. I always forget how to say his name. And that could be an indication they want to get Aaron Rodgers a very good top flight receiving option at the tight end position. But at the same time, I really like the tackle from Washington. The offensive line of the Jets has been a problem forever. And I just don't see them taking the risk of going Bowers. So I'm taking Troy Fautanu. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Fautanu? Yeah, I see that. I think that is their pick there. You desperately need to protect Rodgers after that injury, and Troy makes the most sense.
Yeah, I like Talise Huaga a little bit better. Fautanu, though, I mean, he was literally like levitating at the combine doing the on-field drills. Super athletic, quick feet. So either one is a good. And I do think those quick feet are going to help in pass protection more. I think he is a little light. As far as I remember, 317 is not bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty solid, actually. For a tackle, it's a little light, though. But, yeah.
I like Troy there. That makes sense for the Jets.
Your Minnesota Vikings.
You got my boys.
And Kirk has not re-signed yet. They have TJ, so there's no need for a tight end. Danielle Hunter, still a free agent. Could be a need here. I think, with Kirk not re-signed still, I have to go quarterback. Even though I read the one article on ESPN this morning, what everyone's hearing from all their sources and stuff. And one guy said it's Atlanta. And then the other guy said it's kind of 50-50 on Minnesota right now. It just, what do they want to pay Kirk? And is it up to what he wants? So I'm going to go with JJ McCarthy. He, I think, by far is the fourth best quarterback. And the need here for Minnesota makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be the right spot to take JJ if they didn't trade up to get another quarterback. I think if you get JJ to fall at 11, even if you do re-sign Kirk, I have no issue having JJ sit behind Kirk for a year or two. And now I have Denver. And here's the thing with Denver. All the top flight quarterbacks are kind of off the market now. Mm-hmm. And they would be, I think if it wasn't for the Vikings, they would probably be the more obvious trade-up QB team. But now that they can't, I feel like I'm just stuck in a pickle here.
Do you want my advice?
I'll say what I was gonna do, and then you can give me some advice. I was gonna say go edge and take Jared Verse and work on that defense. Defensive line is a need for them, especially at the edge position, and Verse makes sense there. It was either that or corner, and there's a lot of good corners here. We got DeGene. Although, isn't DeGene a safety? I thought DeGene was marked down as a safety.
He can play both.
He can play both. But you could do DeGene, you could do Quinion Mitchell, and you could do Nate Wiggins. I like those four, help out the defense, and especially with getting rid of Jerry Jeudy and looking to move Sutton. If you draft a QB, and if you reach here and for like Penix or Bo Nix, he has no one to throw to. And I'd be a little worried about drafting a QB who's very much a project and not giving him anything to work with. You could sign a bridge QB and build up later. But I would not feel comfortable if I was a Broncos to go for like Penix or Nix here. So I personally would go Verse. I'd love to hear what you'd say about this pick.
I'd trade back.
Trade back.
Brock Bowers still on the board. Cincinnati Bengals need more weapons for Joe Burrow.
You know what? That does make a lot of sense, especially with no QB. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take your advice because maybe Verse could still be there. And if Verse is not still there, they could definitely take another corner. So yeah, let's not try to figure out any terms, but 18 and 12 would flip. I think that makes a ton of sense.
And the only thing, the reasoning why the Bengals would come up now, not because of the Raiders, but I think it's because of the Saints. I think the Saints would be the first team that, other than the Chargers, that really would look at Brock based off need.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting ahead of the Saints, I think, is a good idea. Even though you never know, Saints might not want that. They need tackle as well, but I think it's fine. Brock Bowers top 5 player in the draft. So to get him at 12, even if it costs you a little bit, it's whatever.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. I think if they were to stay, they would take Verse, but I think trading back, there's still a possibility that they could get him and get some value back in return. So yeah, I would make this trade if I was Denver and I could not get a top flight quarterback at this time.
Yeah, and I think even though it says they're not interested in trading for this pick, I think that would be a solid offer from Cincinnati. 18, 49 and a first next year.
Mm-hmm.
Could get it done to move up 6 selections.
I think that would be pretty realistic. So yeah, since he moves up, and then since he would draft Brock Bowers, yeah, I do like that, especially with how very disappointing Irv Smith Jr. was for them.
All right, I'm on with the Raiders, and again, have no clue what the Raiders are doing right now. Just taking a quick peek at their depth chart right now, or I guess I should look at the Our Lads depth chart since that's more up to date. I think this might be a good spot for Johnny Newton. Potentially, they used a top 10 pick last year on Tyree Wilson. Had a pretty decent rookie year, so I don't know if they necessarily need to go edge again in back-to-back years to pair a guy with Max Crosby. Corner could be one. Jack Jones played pretty well for them. They don't really have a lot of talent there, though. As my Google Chrome is freezing.
Yeah, you're frozen on my screen here.
But yeah, okay. Anyways, I think just looking at defensively, interior-wise, they got 3 guys that are free agents. John Jenkins, Bilal Nichols, Adam Butler, all free agents of the D-tackle spot. I think it'd be a solid option to go with Johnny Newton here with no quarterbacks on the board that are worth this selection here.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go ahead. You can go ahead with yours. We'll get it.
All right. So I have the Saints here, and in the trenches, they need a lot of work. And I think, I don't think you could go wrong here going either side of the ball. But with how disappointing Penning was after trading up for him, I think you got to move on and try to get better depth there. And I think Fuaga from Oregon State makes a lot of sense for the Saints. You build that offensive line, and you just hope for the best for the future. You could go Murphy or Newton. Oh wait, no, Newton. You just mentioned he was taken. So you could go Murphy, but I think they would probably wait another year or two before taking Murphy. Oh no, my draft's disappearing. It's gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would go Fuaga here if I were the Saints. I think that just makes more sense than anything else.
Yeah. With the Colts at 15 here, I like the top of the board. Cooper DeJean. They need help at corner. Their slot corner, Kenny Moore, is a free agent. But like I said, DeJean can play both corner and safety, which I like that versatility there.
Mm-hmm.
And I would really like my computer to become versatile as well. And stop doing this. But we got the Johnny Newton pick in anyways.
All right, good. Yeah, man. Let's see. So
You're up with Seattle at 16.
I'm up with Seattle. Yeah, I'm trying to like recreate the draft on my screen just so I don't get lost. Let's see. Let me try. I'm just trying to remember who was taken so far. Bears took. You took Roma Dunze. Jets. I had them taking. To Minnesota. JJ McCarthy. Denver traded back, but I'm just gonna put Brock Bowers there. Vegas, you had Newton. Saints, I had Fuaga. And who'd you say for the Colts? I forget. Cooper DeJean, right?
Yeah.
Cooper DeJean. Okay, so Seattle, you could do offensive line if you could do edge. Now, I know I said Jared Verse could be a good target for Denver, but I think if they were to trade back, they would probably lose out on Jared Verse because I see Jared Verse in Seattle. There's a definite need at edge there in Seattle, and I think Verse fits that criteria, what they're looking for. So Jared Verse goes 16th to Seattle at this time.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I would have gone inside with the Seahawks. Leonard Williams still a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't re-signed him yet. So I would have went with Byron Murphy on that front. The Jags, I think, is pretty easy. Now, there are a couple options for Jacksonville. Darius Williams, they released a couple weeks ago. So you could go corner with Quinyon Mitchell, Nate Wiggins, both available here. But I think Jacksonville is the number one team that needs a center. Now, the Steelers and the Eagles also need center with the release of Mason Cole and the retirement of Jason Kelce. Eagles, not as much because they already had that plan in place to move Cam Jurgens over. I see. I finally got to the StreamYard tab. But anyways, the Jags, I think, are the first team that needs a center, and their slot at 17 is pretty good value for JPJ there, Jackson Powers Johnson. So I like him to the Jags there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. All right, now I have Denver once again. Now I have just some fantastic corners to choose from. I could take Quinyon Mitchell. I could take Nate Wiggins. I could take Terrion Arnold, especially with the rumors that they might be looking to move Pat Surtain. It could be a very, very realistic thing that happens for them. But, big but here, I still think they like the edge position. And that edge from UCLA, probably the last really good one for the rest of this first round. I think that makes a ton of sense for them. They could go corner. And with more news about Surtain, if I knew more about what they were going to do with Surtain, I might have taken one. But Laiatu, is that how you say his name? Laiatu. I think that makes sense for the Broncos. They really wanted, a good edge duo in Bradley Chubb and Von Miller. They didn't get that. So maybe this is a good chance to start again. Start right there and then build up your defense from the edge going throughout.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. They traded Bradley Chubb a couple years ago, have a couple of young guys, Baron Browning. But yeah, they needed more help there. And the O-line could be a need as well, potentially. I think it's a little early for Brian Thomas, which would be the next receiver, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's a good pick for Denver. LA at 19, they're sitting pretty. They need corner help, and it's perfect. Quinyon Mitchell, give it to me. It's pretty low for him.
Mm-hmm.
At 19, some people have him going a lot higher to, the Colts or, Broncos or what? Not Broncos, Jags, whatever. But yeah, I like Quinyon Mitchell to the Rams. Get some more help for that young defense.
Yeah, I think I had Mitchell going to the Rams as well in our previous draft. Now, I have the Steelers, and I think that it says here they need center linebacker, defensive back. I think missing out on JPJ, they would definitely not reach. I don't see them trading back, especially when you have Nate Wiggins and Terrion Arnold here available. I think the tough part is just choosing between the two. Nate Wiggins, as we saw, is a burner. He can move. He's very fast. But, man, Terrion Arnold, it'd be hard to pass up on him. He has the traits I think Pittsburgh really likes, and matching him with Joey Porter Jr. would just make a devastating defensive backfield. I think the popular pick would be Nate Wiggins, but I think the Steelers would go Terrion here. Take Terrion Arnold at 20th overall and run with it. You there, Rusty? Did I lose Rusty? Oh, man. That's not good. Oh no, it's just me. All right. Good. That's what we all deserve, just listening to me talk. Yeah, I can explain this a little bit more, I suppose. I think when you have two great choices, I don't think you could go wrong. I like Terrion a lot. I like Murphy a lot. But I just think hello.
Okay. So
No, I had to do a force quit.
yeah, so it's all good. I won't start recording again until we get back to where we are, because to redo the whole draft real quick.
Mm-hmm. I have it in front of me.
Yeah, so I think I'm perfectly fine with that. Steelers need a corner, any corner they can get. Pair him with Joey Porter Jr. Could do tackle as well. They need someone to pair with Roderick Jones. So I'm kind of split on that front. I think most of the mocks I've done, it's been like, all right, which one is available? here they're in a good position. Nate Wiggins, Tyrion Arnold, J.C. Latham, Amarius Mims, all available. So they really have the pick, whichever one they want to go with there.
Mm.
Dolphins up next, and they were the next team that was really needing a center with Connor Williams being a free agent. They need interior offensive line as well. They're also in the Brock Bowers sweepstakes, being one of the most teams that needs a tight end, although they did sign Jonnu Smith. But I'm going to go with Byron Murphy here, the top guy available on the board. Christian Wilkins is a free agent, not going to return to Miami. Tackle isn't as big of a need as they announced today. Teron Armstead is getting a contract done to return for 2024, which is perfect for them. Could go Graham Barton. He's the top interior lineman here. But, yeah, I'm going to go with Byron Murphy to get a replacement for Christian Wilkins up front and pair with Zach Sealer for the foreseeable future.
Now, I have your Eagles. Now, I think I did pretty well with your Steelers, getting them Tyrion Arnold. Ah, man. And the thing is, I'm looking at those 3 tackles right there. And I know they're going to shift over, I forget his name, to replace Kelsey at center.
Cam Jurgens.
So you could get some more tackles and really, really emphasize that position. And I would have no issue with that. I think that would make a ton of sense for the Eagles.
That would just be for the future. But.
Yeah, but it would be a future pick. And I think this team wants to compete, even with Kelsey and now, as of today, Fletcher Cox retiring. I still think they want to compete. And there's one name there that should probably not make it to 22, and he did. It's Nate Wiggins. This team needs defensive back help. Nate Wiggins fits it perfectly. And you can draft him and continue to compete and not have someone just be there for a future pick. You could always get a tackle later or next year. I don't think Nate Wiggins, if he falls this far, I don't think the Eagles would pass up. So that's who I would take here.
Yeah, for sure. Love Nate Wiggins, 4.33 speed. Put some youth into the corner position. James Bradbury, Darius Slay still playing pretty well, but Bradbury really fell off last year at age 31, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Texans, they've done some good things so far, re-signing Dalton Schultz. And they don't really need offensive line, maybe interior, but I think the Texans don't really need a lot of these people up here. They're kind of a tough one to look at, but I'm going to go edge. I'm going to go Adisa Isaac. Actually, Chop Robinson. I'm going Chop Robinson because they need some help to pair with Will Anderson. They need someone on the opposite side. They also need interior D line with Sheldon Rankins being a free agent. There's unfortunately no interior D line available worthy of this selection here. I don't like PFF's grading system. I think they have positional value pretty highly regarded here, but yeah, I'm going to go Chop Robinson. I like him over. They have Adisa Isaac ranked above him. I don't see that. I see Chop as the better player. Isaac's all speed. Chop is speedy, but he's also has some power, and the get off that he has is electric. So give me Chop Robinson.
That's a good one. Now I got America's team, Dallas Cowboys. And this one I don't have to put a lot of thought into. J.C. Latham. I think that's the obvious one here. You got an offensive lineman moving out. Get the next best one available in the draft. And I think J.C. Latham makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, totally makes a ton of sense. Tyler Smith They don't know whether they're going to move him to left tackle to replace Tyron Smith, or they're going to keep him at right, draft a left tackle. But either way, they need a tackle, so makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers here, they're a tough one. Not really. Tyler Nubin, I would love to put him into the first round. The Packers' top 3 safeties are all free agents. They're going to sign one in free agency probably. But I am going to go position that I don't think I've seen really a lot with the Packers in mock drafts. I'm going to go tackle Amarius Mims. They've needed to replace David Bakhtiari for the longest time. Technically, he's still on the roster, but the man hasn't played in 3 years. So give me Amarius Mims. I understand Packers fans might be hesitant with him with his own injury history, but I think the talent is worth it, especially late in the first round here at 25. It's worth taking a risk.
I have a trade to announce. I think the Buccaneers are going to trade back with the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I think the Ravens will really want to get Lamar Jackson another weapon. I know they've re-signed, I believe it was Aguilar, right?
Yeah.
They re-signed Aguilar. But I think they look at a team like the Bills, who are losing Gabe Davis, and they're thinking to themselves, well, we can't let them take a wide receiver in front of us when there's a really good wide receiver that we will probably really like. And if we re-signed OBJ, is OBJ still a free agent? I can't remember if they signed him. Yes. Let's get him another LSU guy. So Baltimore Ravens, I have trading up. And they're taking.
Yeah. I think this trade works well. 2/3, one this year, one next year.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty solid for 4 picks.
Yeah,
that's good value, I think.
And I see them taking Brian Thomas Jr. I think they would trade up, give Lamar another weapon, and that's what they would do.
Yeah, so back on the clock with the Cardinals here. Got MHJ in tow here. Kyler's got some good weapons. They need a lot of help on defense, but I'm going to continue to build on the offensive side of the ball. And I'm going to go with Tyler Guyton here. There's a lot of question marks around what DJ Humphries is going to do. I think he's going to retire. Even if he doesn't, he's coming off a major injury. So I think it would be good to surround Kyler with some protection that he kind of didn't have last year. So give me Tyler Guyton here to Arizona.
I like that. Now I have the Bills. Now the Bills just got jumped. But
they need a lot now with all their moves.
Yeah. And they need a lot. They've lost a lot of moving parts. And I know a little bit me almost wants to take Adonai Mitchell from Texas, knowing that they're losing on Gabe Davis. But I think they would probably be higher on Thomas Jr. And I think they would see other needs. And I see them going with Kool-Aid McKinstry. With all the losses they've had on defense, especially Tre'Davious White, I think Kool-Aid McKinstry, even with a little bit of injury concern, I think you take him. His top flight ability is something that the Buffalo Bills can definitely develop. And I think if you can't get Thomas, you get to replace Gabe Davis, you get Kool-Aid McKinstry to replace Tre'Davious White.
Yeah, I think I love that pick. I think it makes a lot of sense. That was, like I said, surprising to me when they did that. I understand, was injured 2 years ago. The money as well. They also Micah Hyde's a free agent as well. So at this point in the first round, I think Tyler Nubin could be in play, and they don't really need center with Zach Frazier here because they're moving Connor McGovern to center. putting David Andrews there, keeping him at guard.
Mhm.
Speaking of guards, the Detroit Lions could be in the guard market. Jonah Jackson is a free agent. And I understand they need some other stuff as well, especially on defense. They need some help. They need someone to pair with Aiden Hutchinson. They really haven't found that guy yet. So I think Adisa Isaac would be in play here. The corners as well. Kamari Lassiter is also an option. Enos Rakestraw. And possibly even wide receiver. I don't think as much. But I'm going to go with Graham Barton here. Can slide into that slot that's vacated by Jonah Jackson currently. So give me Graham Barton for the Lions. And Dan Campbell gets a kneecap eater.
Oh, man. Now I am Tampa. I was going to take Graham if he fell down to the 30th. I think he would have been a good fit there. But I don't think if you're the Buccaneers, you're freaking out too much here. Because, I mean, even with re-signing Baker, you still have a ton of needs, especially on the defensive side. And I know it might not be your favorite pick in the world, but I think they're going to take the top linebacker here. I think they're going to take Peyton Wilson. It might be a shocker, but I think they would like him a lot. I think, and especially with a lot of the interior line kind of out of the way here, I think Peyton Wilson makes a ton of sense for them. It may not be the sexiest pick. Heck, some might even consider it a reach, even though PFF has him high. But I've always liked him, Wilson. I think Bucs would like him a lot, especially with a lot of defensive turnover they're having. That's who I would go with.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a ton of sense. Levante David and Devin White, I believe, are both free agents. I know David is. Mm-hmm. Again, like I said, I don't like the PFF rankings. I have Edgerrin Cooper, number 1, Jeremiah Trotter, 2, and then Peyton Wilson. However, love Peyton Wilson. He is a sideline to sideline kind of guy, can play in coverage as well. So I don't hate it. Mm-hmm. And the need is there for the Bucs. I think the Bucs would be an interesting one. The Bucs and Lions, I think, are interesting ones for Nix and Penix. Mm-hmm. Even though the Bucs just signed Baker, it's really only a 2-year deal. So, it is what it is.
I mean, I had them trading back into the first round to get Bo Nix last week. So I still think even with Baker drafted, someone like Penix or Bo Nix could definitely be an option. Just be like, hey, you're going to come in, you're going to sit behind Baker, you're going to learn, we know you're a project and we're going to treat you like such. So it's still very much a possibility. And same with the Lions. I know there's a lot of rumors about them re-signing Jared Goff to a long-term extension, but until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. I think they could make a lot of sense with Bo Nix or Michael Penix. So, yeah.
Yeah. The 49ers here, they could use some help at the corner spot. I think Kamari Lassiter would be my guy if I'm going to go there. Possibly Enos Rakestraw as well. Darius Robinson is a guy I really like. Chase Young's a free agent. Could be a possibility here. But, you like doing trades, so let's do a trade. Let's go get someone Bo Nix.
Who?
So who is it going to be? I am going to go with the Denver Broncos. I think that where are the Broncos at? There we go. They got the second round pick that they didn't have because of the Wilson trade. They got that pick from the Bengals in the trade back. And they got Laiatu Latu there. But I think they could send 49 and and the Bengals first round pick next year to move up to 31. And I think it's Bo Nix over Michael Penix, just simply for the fact that I think Bo Nix would fit really well in Coach Payton's offense. When you look at Bo Nix, 6'2", 217, he's never really had a decently sized quarterback with having Drew Brees most of his career. I know Jameis is tall, but I think he's going to love Bo Nix. The accuracy also tracks to a Drew Brees style of player. Obviously, Bo Nix, the most accurate quarterback in college football history, breaking that record this year. So I think that works well in Coach Payton's system. And they can start Jarrett Stidham if they want, if they don't think Nix is ready to start week 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do like that. I do think Denver's going to walk out of this draft with a quarterback one way or another. And getting Bo Nix basically in the same spot I had Bo Nix drafted last week, but just to a different team. I think that makes a ton of sense for them. And I think it makes a ton of sense for Bo. And I think even if you draft Bo here, expectations should obviously be you're not starting day one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to get you a bridge guy, you know, maybe Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Brissett kind of guy. It's like, all right, this guy is going to be signed to a 1-year contract. He's going to more than likely start week 1, and you're just going to learn. And I think that'd be the best position for Bo Nix. Now, I have the last pick, and I have the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Now, a little bit of me likes the idea of getting a defensive tackle just because you don't know what Chris Jones is going to do.
They re-signed him last night.
Oh, they did? I did not see that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, never mind. Ignore that. But even with that news in mind, I still would make this pick. There's one thing the Chiefs need. They need some speed. And I think they go for the wide receiver with the third best 40 time from Texas, Adonai Mitchell. I mean, come on. A 4.34 right behind Brian Thomas and teammate Xavier Worthy. I was thinking of going crazy and taking Worthy here. I mean, that 40 time is insane. But I just like Adonai better here. You need better wide receivers on that team. Travis Kelce, he's getting up there in age. He's showing he's showing how much football has taken out of him physically, and that wide receiving core is awful. You get Adonai Mitchell, you get some speed. It's obviously not the Tyreek Hill kind of speed that they had for their first Super Bowl run, but it's at the very least comparable. And if they don't take a wide receiver here, I would not be shocked if they try to take Worthy in the later draft, maybe late second round or third round. But if I was in charge, I'm taking Adonai Mitchell right there. I'm super excited if I'm the Chiefs.
Yeah, Adonai Mitchell, AD Mitchell, definitely worthy of that pick. I like Ladd McConkey as a fit to the Chiefs, just because he also has the speed, but would work well, I think, with Rashee Rice as more of a possession guy over the middle, and then they could have McConkey to take the top off. But thank you for not taking Xavier Worthy, because I want the Panthers to take him at 33.
Yeah, and I mean, I like McConkey a lot too. He was tied 6th in the 40 time, 4.39. So I mean, only 0.05 seconds off. But that 0.05, I think, to me, made a lot of difference. I think Chiefs just need a lot more speed, especially in the wide receiver slot, and Mitchell does that for you.
Yeah, so here's what we got for our second edition of Mock Draft Monday. We got Caleb Williams at 1 to the Bears, Jaden Daniels to the Commanders at 2, Drake May for the Patriots at 3, Marvin Harrison Jr., Cards first pick in the first at 4, Joe Alt to the Chargers at 5, Malik Neighbors to the Giants at 6, Olu Fashanu to the Titans at 7, Dallas Turner for the Falcons at 8, Roma Dunze to the Bears' second pick at 9. Troy Faltanu, back-to-back Huskies here for the Jets at 10. J.J. McCarthy, the new quarterback of the Vikings, at 11. Bengals come up for a Joe Burrow weapon in tight end Brock Bowers at 12. Raiders getting Johnny Newton at 13. Talise Fuaga to the Saints at 14. Cooper DeJean for the Colts at 15. Jared Verse for the Seahawks at 16. 17. Jax Powers Johnson for the Jags. Laiatu Latu to the Broncos at 18. What ended up being one of 2 first-round picks for Denver. Quinyon Mitchell to the Rams at 19. Terrion Arnold to the Steelers at 20. Byron Murphy for the Dolphins at 21. Nate Wiggins for the Eagles at 22. Chop Robinson to the Texans at 23. The Cowboys get a tackle in J.C. Latham at 24. Back-to-back tackles to the Packers at 25 with Amarius Mims. Power G's stick together there. The Ravens trading up for a Lamar weapon with the Bucks at 26 to get Brian Thomas Jr. Cardinals with their second pick of the first get tackle Tyler Guyton at 27. Bills go with corner Kool-Aid McKinstry at 28. Lions go interior O-line at 29 with Graham Barton. Bucks at 30, they go with Peyton Wilson. Broncos trading back into the first round at 31, getting their quarterback, Bo Nix. And then the Chiefs rounding it out with Adonai Mitchell at 32.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think the only unrealistic one, and it was admittedly my pick, was the Ravens going back-to-back wide receivers in the first round. With Zay Flowers last year and now Thomas this year. But I think at this point, if you're the Ravens, you still want to get weapons for Lamar, and especially with, I don't want to speak too much to what's going on with Zay Flowers, but there are some off-the-field issues that could cause some legal trouble. And again, I don't want to say that's going to do anything to Zay Flowers' career, but it's always a concern when you're a team that needs players to be on the field, and you have something like that happen off of it that can take them off the field. You always gotta just keep that in mind. So there'd be a lot of question marks around the Ravens going back-to-back wide receivers, but I think the Vikings are doing it basically with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and it's working. So I think the idea of just getting a couple really good, really young wide receivers for Lamar Jackson to throw to while being teamed up with Mark Andrews, you really open up that field.
Yeah, my favorite team in this one is the Bears, actually. I think the Bears made out very well. Caleb Williams, then a weapon for him. I think that would be pretty solid for Chicago.
Yeah, I like that too a lot. I like what we did with the Broncos. I like that we, with basically the top 4 QBs out before they could trade up. They could have traded up. We could have made that happen. But I don't see any team, realistically, I don't see any team between 5 and 11 trading back. Maybe Chargers, but I don't know if you're – the one thing I don't like about mock drafts that have – the Chargers trading back is I don't think that Harbaugh would want to trade back. I think he'd want to get the best value at that pick. He'd want to get something for Joe Herbert, whether it's offensive line or offensive weapon. I don't like the idea of him trading back and possibly hurting this team. Now, maybe you trade back, get more assets, maybe a first-round pick next year, and you continue with this rebuild. But for me, I look at Harbaugh, and I think he can look at this offense and the 5th overall pick and go, I think we could sneak into a wild card. We have really good QB. We have some weapons that I could use. If we shed some salary, I could still make something happen with young draft picks. So maybe he just looks at this and goes, I can't pass up on Joe Alt. I can't pass up on Fashu from Penn State, or I can't pass up on Neighbors. That's a very real possibility. I don't think Harbaugh would be the kind of risk taker to do that. I'd be very shocked if they did. A lot of mock drafts have him trading back. I personally would be very surprised. I see the Patriots more likely to trade back than the Chargers.
Yeah. Well, that is second edition of Mock Draft Monday. Make sure you catch the normal Monday show at 5 Eastern in a couple hours, and we will see y'all back potentially next week. We'll see what the schedule turns out. Thank y'all for watching, and make sure you catch the show in a couple hours.